Almost there. Well, good morning or good afternoon, and welcome to the Department of Communication and Information Technology's monthly cybersecurity training session. I am Teresa Duhart, General Secretary and Chief Information Officer of the General Department of Communication and Information Technology, better known as CIT. Today's session is Protecting Your Electronic Vote from Cyber Threats. At this session, you will learn how to identify and avoid related cyber threats while ensuring their online security during the electronic voting process. We know that the upcoming US presidential and other state elections on November 5th are crucial, and this training session is important for you to safeguard your electronic vote. The instructor for this 45-minute session will be Reverend Tanesha Hollingshed, a cybersecurity instructor who has worked as a high school career and technical education teacher in the public school system for over 14 years. Reverend Hollingshed currently teaches for Keller Independent School District. She often speaks about cybersecurity awareness and has been an invited speaker for several nonprofits, conferences, churches, colleges, and university. Reverend Hollingshed is currently a PhD student at the University of North Texas and a member of the 8th Episcopal District. She is an ordained deacon and serves on the Digital Media and Technology Ministry team at Morning Chapel CME Church. She and her husband, Pastor Kenneth L. Hollingshed, have two adult sons, Kaylin and Kingston. Now, without further ado, is Reverend Tanesha Hollingshed. If you have questions, please place them in the chat or QA section in Zoom or in the comments section if you are viewing by Facebook. And now, Reverend Hollingshed, show her some virtual love.
Good morning. It is truly an honor and blessing to be with you this morning, Dr. Duhart. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I don't know if you see the message that I see, the content of this meeting is being sent to a third party. I'm not sure what that means. Do I need to press OK?
You're fine. It's just going to Facebook. You're
Oh,
fine.
okay. Got it.
Be
Great.
definitely on being aware of where
Okay.
things are streaming. Yes,
You
thank
know
you.
how I am about the
Yes,
being cyber
yes,
aware. Praise
yes.
God. I want to give honor to our senior bishop, Reddick, and to our chair, Bishop Walker, and of course to my husband, Pastor Kenneth L. Hollingshed, who's the senior pastor of Morning Chapel, CME, the Rock Church in Fort Worth, Texas. And today we are celebrating the life and legacy of our beloved brother, Brother Jimmy Coleman. So I do want to give condolences to our family, and please pray for our church family and as well as the Coleman family. And I have, as you mentioned, Dr. Duhart, a very, very important topic to talk about today as we prepared to vote. Some of you are doing early voting. I will be doing the same. This is about protecting your electronic vote from cyber threats. And just believe that there are some major attacks that are lurking, and so we have to just be mindful of that, and we have to continue to be on the lookout and to protect ourselves. On the next slide, I just want to reiterate how technology continues to evolve, and as the technology evolves, and as we participate in these elections, as you know, many states are using the electronic voting systems that offer the convenience, but also keep in mind that it is attracting cyber criminals, and they're looking for opportunities to compromise these systems. And they're using some very clever tactics. We've talked about phishing before in my trainings, malware, ransomware, distributed denial of service, which is also known as DDoS. Just means that they just shut the system down completely. And also, there is identity theft that can target your vote, which leads to unauthorized access, tampered votes, and invalid ballots. So that's why this is so crucial that you really, be vigilant and look at some of these topics that I'm going to talk about in this particular presentation. On the next slide, I want to share some specific things that happened back in 2016. Many of you remember when Russia attempted to interfere and influence our presidential election in the 2016 election infrastructure. And this is when the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency was developed. It was designed because of that particular attack to protect, manage, and defend our elections. And so that's what they have been working very hard to do during this particular election. As you know, this is a very serious election. They're all serious, but we know that there are some very angry, bitter people right now. There's a lot of hatred going on. So we have to be mindful of that. Right now in 2024, excuse me, we are facing even more cyber attacks than 2016. These are coming from foreign adversaries, again, such as Russia, Iran, China. We're also dealing with in person cyber attacks right here in the United States that continue to undermine the 2024 election. So it is so important on the next slide for you to really uh, think about where you're going to vote. Make sure that your device that you're using is secure. Make sure you vote from a trusted, secure voting site. Uh, CISA has made sure that the machines that we're using in America, when we're casting our votes, are not connected to the internet, which makes it secure. Remember, as long as you have internet connection, you are capable. There's an ability for some of these cyber threats to take place. And so we have to be very mindful of that. They cannot attack you from a digital standpoint unless you have internet. So this time around, the government has made sure that our votes are not connected to the internet, which is a great thing. So you want to make sure that you find a secure location. Um, so check with your latest information from your state or local election authority, so that you know for sure that these are secure voting sites. And you can also go to the National Association of Secretaries of State. Now, on the next slide, I just want to really focus on the different ways that we all know, we should know, but there are some young people who are voting now who may not be familiar with all of the different ways to vote. So I just want to reiterate, of course, there's in-person voting, which means that we can physically go to the designated polling location to cast our votes. And of course, you have mail-in voting, also known as the absentee voting. And this is where voters can receive a ballot by mail, fill it out, and then return it either by mail or at a designated drop-off location. And then, of course, what I'm talking about today, the electronic voting, known as e-voting. This is where we can cast our votes using an electronic device such as a computer, tablet or kiosk. This can take place at polling stations. Um, I've been told that there are some remote locations, but I have not seen those locations around in my area. It could be in different states. Then you have provisional voting. If there is uncertainty about a voter's eligibility at the time of voting, they may cast a provisional ballot, and the vote is counted once they're able to confirm whatever that information that they need to actually verify. Just know that each method that I mentioned has its own security protocols to ensure that voter privacy and integrity is secure and protected through the voting process. Now, on the next slide, I want to talk specifically about ways that cyber criminals are attacking us. These are the phishing attacks that I've talked about before, smishing, vishing, spear phishing. This is where cyber criminals can send out the fake emails or messages pretending to be election officials. They can also pretend like they are um, people who are actually running for office. So you have to be careful about that. So you want to always verify that these are the real people before you click on any links or share information. Now I want to share just some examples of phishing tactics that we've seen as we study cybersecurity, as experts are helping us as voters to protect ourselves. First, I'm going to start with just the church, Christians. You may receive a fake email from a bishop or a religious leader, your pastor or your presiding elder or a leader in the community, and the subject could say something like support fair voting for our community. And then the message may say, as your bishop, I am coordinating an initiative to protect voter rights and ensure everyone in our community is registered and informed. And here's the key word: click this link to take you to a secure portal where you can quickly review your registration. If you have not heard this specifically from your pastor or your bishop, please do not fall for this particular tactic. And know that they are not going to be sending you any secure sites. So please be careful of those particular sites and share that with your members, your friends, and your family. Some other examples on the next slide. This is some examples of maybe an email from an election authority or official. The subject may say, urgent, update your voter registration information. Click here to update your voter registration now. These are bogus message claiming issues with your ballot. That's a very popular tactic. It may say in the message, your recent absentee ballot has been rejected due to incomplete information. Please click here to correct your details before the voting deadline. And then you may get a fake voting confirmation. And the message may say, thank you for submitting your vote. Click here to confirm your vote receipt. Again, these are tactics that we have to be mindful of as we're going through our emails and looking at our text messages. On the next slide, this is a fake email with voting instructions. And again, they're going to pursue and they're going to target individuals who may not understand that this information would not come through an email. Maybe our younger voters, maybe our senior citizens, to create fear. Phishing attacks are supposed to create fear and anxiety and to make you take action immediately. So whenever you feel that way, you pause for a moment and make sure that you're thinking about what you're reading and where it's coming from. So the message may say something like, there are important changes in voting procedure for the upcoming election. Use the following link to access the new voting procedures. A text message may say, your voter registration has expired. To reactivate your registration and to be eligible to vote, click here. And of course, if you're about to vote and you get a message like that, it's going to automatically cause you to panic. Okay. Another major one, as I said before, when they impersonate either religious leaders or your official elections, when you're dealing with the official election, so they'll impersonate uh, their names. They'll use maybe people in their campaign team. So it may say something like, hello, this is the elected officials. And they'll say, I need your support. Click here to donate to my campaign or initiatives so that we can keep fighting for the issues that you care about. Again, it's going to cause that fear, that anxiety, and that sense of urgency. On the next slide, this is information that I always say over and over to my students, to my friends, to my family, even to you who are listening. Stop, think, and don't click the links. Okay? I'm going to repeat that one more time. Stop before you do anything. Think about what you're reading, where it's coming from, and do not click the links. Let me tell you some of the things that these links will do. I've mentioned it before in previous presentations, but the link may direct you to a fraudulent website, a fake site where you're asked to enter your personal information, like your social security number, your voter registration details, bank information, or passwords. Another thing the link can do is lead to a fake website that asks for your personal and financial details under the guise of verifying your identity. The link can also download malware. And I said in a previous presentation, malware simply means malicious software. And once that malicious software is downloaded onto your device, these hackers, cyber criminals, stalkers, they have access to your system. They have access to send out information under your name. They have access to actually watch everything that you're doing on your system. They can send out um, fake information to your congregation, to your friends, to your family. And there's so many other things that they can do once they have access to your system. Okay. They see everything that's going on. So again, stop, think, and don't click on those links. The next slide. This is some specific things that you need to look for when you get these phishing emails. Um, these are sites, you know how our sites end with .com. Some of the fake ones, the extensions that they use to trick us might have instead of .com, .info, .biz, B-I-Z, .xyz, .top. These are known phishing fake emails. You also may see the section in green where it says government-us.com. What they're doing there is combining legitimate information, and they're using it to basically play with your mind to trick you so that you think it's an official US government site. And just keep in mind that an official government site only uses .gov. That's how you know that is correct. And again, when you're going into those websites and you look at the HTTP, you want to make sure that it has an S at the end, means that it's been certified. The person who owns that website has gone through the proper steps and protocol to make sure that that site is actually protected. So that's when you see the S at the end, which means that the information will be encrypted. So even if someone does compromise the website, they won't be able to see that information because it's encrypted. So again, make sure that you are paying close attention. Again, stop, think about what you're doing before you start clicking or going into any of these websites. On the next slide, I want you to look at some specific sources that they will use and how you can protect yourself. You want to check the sender's email, okay? Every time you get an email, it's going to come from an individual. And when I say individual, meaning there's going to be an address associated with this. And do keep in mind that there are bots who can send this information as well. But at the end of the day, you are going to receive an email address Government or election authorities typically use official domain. Okay, you'll see that .gov, as I mentioned before, .us, .edu for our education, and .org. Okay, so if they say they're from a government agency, but they don't have this official domain names associated with it, then you know that this is some funny business. You know this could be associated with fraud or some type of cyber attack. Another way you can do this is before even clicking into a site, if you just take your cursor, like this example here, if you take your cursor and just hover around the name, it will show you the actual domain and the actual website information. Okay, so you may see a different name. Instead of saying yourbank.com, it may say credit capital and an official bank. But then when you hover on that particular name, you will see the actual name. And sometimes the actual address is maybe different from the name that appears. So again, stop, pause, and make sure that you're thinking about what you're about to click into. All right, the next slide. Some more information about protecting yourself. If you get something that just looks close, remember these are master manipulators. They use phishing attacks. They use different types of manipulation tactics. Most of the time, they use the things that we are familiar with to cause this fear and anxiety and urgency. If you're ever at a point where you just don't know, this is when you pause, contact your election officials directly. Contact their office. If you suspect that the communication is fake, contact them and verify that it is a legitimate message, that it is a real message coming from them. Do not share your personal information. Okay, I know it may look realistic sometimes. I've gotten so many emails that looks official, it looks real, but I had to pause and wait and say, okay, wait a minute, let me go back and double check to hover over here this email to make sure it's right. But avoid sharing personal information like your social security number or login details through email or text message. Even if they say it's family or friends or an official place that you trust, just say, you know what, I'd rather not send this via text message or email. What are some other secure routes or platforms that I can send this information? And if they are a legitimate company, then they understand that you want to be secure. And then always look for those signs of phishing attacks. Most of the times they're going to be some type of error. Read it twice, pause and read it slowly. Make sure that there's not an error in somewhere in the message. As I mentioned before, there can be those unusual email domains that you've never seen before. Um, Always look for the urgent language. They always make it seem like this is an emergency. You have to do it now or else type of emails. These are red flags that message may be fraud. Next slide. This is information that I want you to think about as you are staying safe. I want you to stay informed. Please exercise your right to vote securely. Don't just exercise your right to vote, but make sure it's a secure vote. Then I want you to be intentional and protect yourself when it comes to your e-votes. Encourage your family, your friends to be cyber smart during this time of election season. And then, of course, if you see something that you're just not sure about, or if you know that this is fraud, you want to report suspicious activities to your election authorities or your Federal Trade Commission immediately. Because if we're all doing what we need to do to be safe and we're sending these fake messages and we're sending out this information that we receive, to the FTC, these organizations, then they're going to be able to catch these individuals, these actors, these cyber criminals and hackers, the ones who are going to impact our votes. Remember, at the end of the day, these criminals, these actors are trying to get our personal information. And in this case, they're trying to impact our votes. And we know that we need to make sure that nothing separates us from voting properly. Contact election officials directly. If you receive suspicious communication, um, again, make sure that you share your personal information. And this is all I have. Does anyone have any questions about your e-votes and how you can remain safe and secure during this voting season? We have quite a few people in, and it's so great to see you all with us today on this Saturday. Any questions?
Look in the chat. Sister Virginia Marshall, welcome, and you will be able to view the video, today's presentation, on the CME Facebook page, and I'll put that link in our chat right now.
Great. Any other questions? Yes. The Sister Jones says, very informative. Now let's go vote. She's absolutely right. Let's go vote. Early voting. We have to do this, y'all. We have to make it happen. There's power in numbers. Power.
I don't see anything else in chat or Facebook.
All right. And if you don't have any other information, think I'm good. My final thoughts is just to make sure that you all keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of social engineering, which is when these hackers use the things that we like to manipulate and to um, trick us into sharing information. And the worst thing that can happen is you give your information and they are able to have access to your social security number, your driver's license, and they go and use your information to vote for a candidate that you were not intending to vote for. That's the worst case scenario. And we don't want that to happen. Thank you, Dr. Duhart.
Oh, you are so welcome. And thank you, Reverend Hollingshed, for your excellent presentation today. And we hope that everyone here on Zoom and on Facebook gained valuable knowledge on protecting your electronic vote from cyber threats.
Yes.
Please remember to vote and vote safely and responsibly.
Amen.
An evaluation form will be emailed to each of you to provide feedback about today's training session. I will place it in the chat as well. There you are. We want to again thank Reverend Hollingshed, and I want to thank you, the audience, for taking time out of your busy schedule today, a Saturday, to attend the training. Here's hoping that you have a great rest of the day, Sunday worship service, and a wonderful week ahead. God bless each of you. We're signing off.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to stop streaming here.